What do you make of this? Really interesting subject matter, and I know it does divide people, but quite fascinating. Over 1,000, if you want the official, it's 1,042 pupils in Gloucestershire are now being taught at home rather than in our primary or secondary schools. We've obtained these figures through a Freedom of Information request from the County Council. Parents don't have to tell authorities if they make the decision to homeschool. So that figure could be, probably is much higher. You know, yesterday, to put it in context, on the programme we were talking about the new secondary school to be built in Cheltenham. That would have 900 pupil places. So almost we have a whole school in Gloucestershire we could fill with those who are home educated. Number of students being homeschooled would fill all of those places and more. Typically a primary school would have around about 200 places. It's an idea that can split opinion. So why are more parents in the county bucking the trend and actually going for the homeschooling? Our reporter Emma Trim has been to Cheltenham to meet Jill Skeffington and her 6-year-old son Jensen.
We saw this creature on Blue Planet and I remembered we had the skeleton of it in the book. What we're looking at tonight.
Remember the name of it?
A sea elephant.
An elephant sea, well done you. The thing about homeschooling is you can teach them what you feel is important. And I know outside of school you can still instill that within a child, I get that, but I think it just really, you can just do more and more of it. I think that's a really good, positive thing. What kind of fish is it? What do you
A sardine.
A sardine. What have you learnt about sardines?
From Blue Planet.
Excellent. This is kind of free flow play, but it's interesting what he brings into his Lego. So he Lego is his kind of way that he kind of understands the world. Really, it really is. He does everything through Lego.
How did you come about home educating? What made you do it?
So do you want to tell her, Jensen?
You get the I'm busy making this.
He went to reception, which was great, really play based. And
really hard to work.
Well, then you went up to year 1, didn't you? And there's quite a big jump up to year 1, wasn't there?
I have to do writing all afternoon, then I have to go outside and play for 5 minutes.
And he didn't seem particularly happy. And I just felt, or me and my husband felt, that it was just too much when they're too little.
It says in your blog that it wasn't initially a unanimous decision. What were your husband's concerns?
Well, just that he thought the socialisation would be a problem and sort of falling behind. But I was quite adamant that it was the right thing to do, at least, you know, temporarily.
Have you had support in what you're doing?
I'd say a lot of people are supportive. My friends are. I think a lot of people are kind of like a bit, I couldn't do it. For us, it works really well. I think it depends on the person who's giving the home education. I mean, I don't have anything against school. I don't have anything against homeschooling, obviously, because we're doing it. But I think it works for us. And if you can see the children are benefiting and maturing and growing from it in a positive way, then I think it works.
I think what I find fascinating about this story, it's not a black and white, there's not a one size fits all, it's not either right or wrong, but it does bring out various themes. If you are home educating your youngsters now, do please just give us a call and just take us through it. The other thing is, if you were home educated and now you're an adult listening to this, and how it impacted on your life. I know it's a bit of a long shot, but you might be listening in your 20s and 30s and you were home educated. 01452 30 7575. So let's just take some of these issues. Professor David Berridge heads up the Children and Families Research Centre at the University of Bristol. David's contributed to the government's Education Select Committee in the past when it's discussed home education. David, morning to you. Welcome to Friday Breakfast.
Good morning.
David, various issues here, but let's just talk about the fact that I'm guessing so many different people do it for so many different reasons.
Yes, and also nationally, apart from in Gloucestershire, the figures that I've looked at show that home education nationally has doubled in the last 5 years. So there's been quite a rapid growth in that, and traditionally, most home-educated children were parents who, for sort of ideological reasons, didn't like the idea of children having to go to school every day and thought that children should spend more time with their parents. But in recent years, what's happened is that more and more parents seem to be becoming dissatisfied with the school system, both in the case that you just mentioned about sort of trying to have too high academic standards, and we know that school can be very pressurising for children, but also some children who have special educational needs, schools seem to be coping less well for those, and many schools would say there are funding pressures that affect how well they can do their jobs.
I think you're right, with the special educational needs, that's a tangent to it. Let's just talk about the general themes on this as well. So a couple of questions. The sociability. Often people say, well, if you home educate, that whole mixture of going to school, the ups and downs and the good and the bad, that is going to really give you a disadvantage later in life?
Yes, in general, most children will benefit by going to school, meeting friends, having a peer group, learning social skills by mixing with others. Many children get that at home already, of course, from brothers or sisters or from their friends in the community. So it very much depends on the home environment. Most parents aren't trained teachers. One of the best indicators of how well a child does in school is parental involvement in the school, and whether parents, for example, read to children at home, do artwork, do sums together, watch things like Blue Planet, which you've just heard, and discuss it. And that probably has more influence on children's learning than what happens in school anyway.
The other point, of course, is can a parent take a child all the way through, right up to A-levels, teach them the curriculum?
Very few teachers could cover the whole curriculum. And as the learning becomes more specialist, most parents wouldn't be able to teach numeracy, maths, English, a foreign language, history, and so on. So, for very young children, there might be one issue, but as children get older, then it does become rather different.
So what happens to that child, that parent who wants to take their children all the way through? Because I know they do get regular visits as well. It's not just completely off-grid.
Well,
but what happens?
I think in the past, local authorities have tried to be supportive as much as they could when children are home educated, so that those children and parents might still get some benefit of curriculum materials or support. But again, councils vary in that, and also councils have less responsibility for schools in any case, where we have academies that are much more autonomous. So I think when children are home educated, councils always try to support that, but it does vary very much, and many parents, if they make this choice, would get very little external support.
Very interesting, David. Thank you for joining us, giving that overview, Professor David Berridge.